Hello and welcome back to the Analyst by Vajiram and Ravi, dated 8th January 2025. Today again we will be discussing some important topics that has appeared in today's The Hindu and The Indian Express newspapers which are very relevant for your exam. In our first topic we will try to look into various aspects of recent move by Reserve Bank of India to cut the repo rate by 25 basis point. Then in our second topic, we will try to look into various dimensions of role of technology in ensuring the equitable education for all. Then in our simplified section, we will take up 5 articles and we will try to explain them in simplest language possible to enrich your understanding of the newspapers. Additionally, we have also incorporated some prelims pointers which is going to be very important for your upcoming prelims 2025 exam. So have a look on them also and stay tuned. So, our first topic is why RBI has cut the repo rate. The context of this topic is that the RBI or the Reserve Bank of India has recently announced a rate cut by 25 basis point or 0.25% after the recent Monetary Policy Committee meeting, and the repo rate has came down to 6.25% after this recent cut. This particular topic is related to your GS paper 3, monetary policy, inclusive growth, planning, mobilization of resources, etc. This is the first time in last 57 months when RBI has gone for the rate cut, and it was the month of March in year 2020 when we have witnessed the rate cut in the repo rate by the RBI last. Also, why RBI has decided for this rate cut at this point of time is because of the fact because they want to support the fading economy growth which has slumped to 5.4%. Also, they are hopeful for inflation easing to 4.4% in this quarter, and for overall financial year 25-26, they are hopeful that inflation will remain to 4.2%. Now, how this repo rate is related to economic growth rate as well as how it is related to inflation, that we'll try to look comprehensively in our upcoming discussion. But before moving further, let's try to address 2 important questions. First is what is repo rate? And second, why the RBI has been given this power to decide the repo rate. The repo rate, the full form is repurchase agreement rate, is the rate at which the commercial banks can borrow funds or money from the RBI to meet their short-term liquidity needs. And for borrowing these funds from the central bank or the RBI, they give securities or the government securities as collateral to the RBI, and after they fulfill their needs of that liquidity, they buy back that securities, they repurchase that securities from the RBI, and that is the reason this rate has been named as repurchase agreement rate. Means the commercial banks are repurchasing those securities which they have kept as a collateral to the RBI for taking funds or to ensure that they meet their short-term liquidity needs. Now the second question, that why RBI has been given this function to manage the repo rate, is because of the fact that under the preamble of RBI Act 1934, there are 2 functions which has been given to the RBI. The one function is that they has to ensure a price stability in the economy. It is the function that has been given to the RBI that inflation should remain within the limit. The second function is that RBI has to ensure that we achieve our objective of economic growth. Because of these 2 functions, the RBI is managing the repo rate, and with the help of that repo rate, they are fulfilling these 2 functions which has been provided, which has been mandated to them by the RBI Act 1934, which has been passed by the Parliament itself. Now earlier, what was happening, it was the Governor of Reserve Bank of India who was deciding the repo rate with the help of a technical advisory committee. And there was lack of transparency that on what basis the governor of RBI is deciding this repo rate. To address that particular issue, the Government of India has amended this RBI Act 1934 with the Finance Act of 2016, and under the section 45ZB of the RBI Act 1934, a monetary policy committee was set up, and now this committee is deciding the repo rate. The composition of monetary policy committee is that there are total 6 members. One is the governor of RBI, second is the deputy governor of the RBI, and another member of the RBI, and there are 3 central government members who are nominated by the government itself. and now they decides all the decisions related to the monetary policy committee, repo rate, etc. So first function is that they determines the repo rate, and that also shapes the overall monetary policy, whether we'll go for the tight monetary policy or the expansionary monetary policy. What is the stance that the monetary policy committee or the RBI will take for the future, that whether they will go for the rate cut or not, as well as they also issues bi-monthly statements about the overall macroeconomic framework. Now, why these meetings are so important? Because first of all, by deciding the repo rate, the domestic money supply and interest rate are being determined, as well as it is helping to control inflation. How it is happening? That first of all, let's suppose through this picture we'll try to understand that this is the Reserve Bank of India. Now, when they have decreased the repo rate, the banks, these commercial banks like SBI, PNB, etc., they are getting cheap money or money at a lower interest rate. Now, they will also be giving this cheap money as a loan at a cheaper rate as compared to what they were giving earlier to the industries. And when industries will get cheaper loans, their cost of production will decrease, as well as it will increase the production of the goods and services. And when the production of the goods and services will increase, it will also lead to more job creation, more employment, because they will need support of more workers for increasing this production of the goods and services. Also, with the money that they will be getting at a cheaper rate, at a lower rate of interest, that they will be investing also in the economy. And as you would be knowing that there are four components of the GDP. One is the household consumption expenditure. Second is the private investment. Third is the government spending as well as the government investment in the economy. And last is the net of exports, right? So when these companies, these private industries are getting cheaper loan, they are also investing in the economy, and that is also leading to a better GDP growth rate, better economic growth rate, as well as more job creations, more goods and services are being produced. And when cost of the production is also decreasing, it is also helping to ensure that inflation is within the limit, which is one of the functions which has been given to the Monetary Policy Committee itself, to ensure that the inflation remains within 4 ± 2 limit. Right. Now, the second case is that when banks are giving these cheaper money or the loans at a lower rate of interest to the public also, it is leading to increased consumption of the goods and services. For example, let's suppose there is a person who wants to buy an iPhone, but because of high EMI that he will be or she will be charged on that iPhone, because he or she is not able to buy by doing the full payment, at this point of time he is not interested, or he is not or she is not willing to buy that iPhone. But when the RBI will reduce the repo rate, these banks will also reduce their lending rates, and the EMIs will also reduce of the people, and this person will be able to buy the iPhone, because now he or she will have to pay less EMI, which was only possible because of the decrease in the repo rate. Right? And it will help in increasing the spending of the people in the economy. When people will be spending in the economy, it will also demand more goods and services, or it will increase the demand of the goods and services in the economy, which will further lead to increase in the production of the goods and services. And that there will be, when more and more goods and services will be demanded, then further investment will happen, and that will create a complete cycle of demand as well as overall economic growth rate. Apart from that, whenever people will be, as you would be aware of the fact that when the repo rate is decreased by the RBI, it also decreases the savings rate. That is the rate that will be offered by the banks on the saving account, on the FDs, etc. Now, people might not be interested in saving in these low interest bearing instruments that are offered by the banks, and they can invest in other financial instruments like stocks, mutual funds, etc. Why? Because when the production of goods and services will increase, the profitability, the revenue of the companies will also increase, and when the revenue, the financials of the company will improve, that will also increase the stock prices of the company, and when the stock prices will be increasing, the more and more people will be interested in investing the stock in the stocks of these companies, and with the increase in the stock price of that particular company, the people will also be able to get some profit due in the same proportion as the stock price is increasing. So this might lead to a tendency of increasing saving by the people, which they will be investing in the stocks, mutual funds, etc., and that will also strengthen the financial markets. It will also lead to increased export competitiveness. How that will happen? Let's suppose there is a person A, okay, and this person is exporting shirts to other parts of the world, and the cost of each shirt is 50 rupees, right? Now let's suppose there is a person X who is importing these shirts, who likes this particular shirt from India and demanding this shirt. Now earlier, before the rate cut, let's suppose the exchange rate was $1 equal to 50 rupees, right? But as we know that when RBI goes for the rate cut or the repo rate is decreased, it increases the money supply in the economy, or it increases the liquidity in the economy, and due to which there is risk of currency depreciation. Also currency may depreciate because dollar currency will be more or less same, but there will be increase in the rupees in the economy, and that will lead to currency depreciation. And let's suppose $1 now became 100 rupees because of the impact of the currency depreciation, because of the impact of increased liquidity or money supply in the economy. Now at this point of time, understand, this person X who was importing this shirt, the cost of that shirt was 50 rupees. He was getting one shirt by spending $1. But now due to impact of currency depreciation, he will be able to buy two shirts, because cost of each shirt is 50 rupees, and now due to impact of currency depreciation, $1 has become 100 rupees. It means he will be able to afford two shirts with the same spending. That means that our products are becoming competitive. People might demand our products more. There are a lot of other factors which are impacting this export competitiveness, because for example, whether the cost of production is same or not, because if the raw material cost has increased so much that the cost of production or the shirt price also increased to 100 rupees, obviously our product will not be very competitive. If the particular quality of the shirt is degrading, then obviously people will not demand. But keeping all the other things same, if the currency is depreciating, our exports become competitive, and it also supports the exporting industry. That earlier, whenever the person was selling this particular good, only one shirt was being demanded, but due to currency depreciation, more shirts will be demanding, and which is making our export very competitive, and which will help in foreign exchange earnings also, which will also help in increase in our foreign exchange reserves. Also, one of the components under this GDP was net of exports. If our export will see the growth, that means that we will also witness the GDP growth rate. And now we'll see some of the negative implications of this rate cut. First is the inflationary pressure that may create. What is happening here? Understand that I said that rate cut will lead to a decreased EMI, cheaper loans to the people. That will lead to increased consumption by the people, and people will be also spending more. But when people will be spending more, they will be demanding more goods and services. And let's suppose the industries were not able to produce that much goods and services which are being demanded by the people. So obviously there will be demand supply mismatch. Too much money will be chasing too few goods, and that may lead to a case of a high inflation in the economy. And that is the reason that RBI is hopeful that this rate cut will be very good, because of the fact that in this quarter the inflation will be 4.4%, and for the whole year it will be around 4.2%. And that is the reason that this inflationary pressure has eased down, and that with the help of that, RBI was able to take this decision of rate cut. Also, there is obviously you would be knowing that there is a particular duty that has been given to this monetary policy committee to ensure that inflation remains within this 4 plus minus 2 bracket. Also, with the impact of currency depreciation, the imports become costlier. That let's suppose there is a person who was importing a particular shirt. Okay, let's suppose a shirt was being imported. Again, let's suppose the cost of each shirt is $1, and earlier the person was spending 50 rupees, but now with the currency depreciation, when $1 will become 100 rupees, the person will have to spend 100 rupees to buy that particular shirt. And that is the reason there might be a case of the imported inflation, that inflation which is caused by the increase in the prices of the imported goods and services. So when the currency is getting depreciated, imports are becoming much more costlier, and which might further lead to increase in the inflation in the economy, which is one of the negative implication of the rate cut. Also, with the rate cut, there is a reduced returns on the savers because of the fact that there is a external benchmark lending rate. That one question that may come in your mind, that when the RBI is reducing the repo rate, is there any particular mandatory rule or the law that commercial bank will also be reducing their lending rate? Obviously, earlier the banks were following their internal benchmark rate, which was the MCLR or marginal cost of lending rate. But now they have shifted to this external benchmark lending rate. They have to link their lending rate to some of the external benchmarks. That one of that external benchmark is this repo rate, and there are other external benchmark like the yields on 91 days treasury bills, etc. So when the banks have to mandatory follow this external benchmark lending rate, when the RBI is reducing the repo rate, then the lending rates are also declining, and when the lending rates are also declining, that is also leading to decline in the savings rate in the economy. Why? Because when the cheaper money is there, obviously if the savings rate will be very high, people will be buying cheaper loans, and then they will be investing that to the savings account, and they can earn high interest. And that is the reason that all these things are linked. When the lending rates are declining, the saving rates are also declining. And then the asset bubbles, that when cheap money will be available, people may go for some conspicuous consumption, that they will be buying more real estate, they will be buying more plots, more land, more houses, etc. That may inflate the prices of these assets, and which may create an asset bubble in the economy, which is also one of the major issues. Also, to some experts, it is believed that this particular repo rate decrease will have some limited effectiveness until and unless it is done with other structural reforms. For example, the capital is not only not the only requirement for the company. There are other factors of production also. For example, you would be knowing land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship is there. So if there are labor laws which are very complex, obviously industries would be very apprehensive for employing more and more people, and that will not lead to more increase of the production of the goods and services. So there will be no point for declining in the repo rate, because despite the capital, the companies are not investing in the economy. Why? Because they are apprehensive. They have lot of issues with the labor laws which are not very simplified. Or if the regulations that are in place, for example, the code on occupational safety, etc., or if that is not in sync with the needs of the industries, obviously the industries will be very apprehensive in investing in the economy despite the capital that they have. Or another example, if the GST rate, that is very complex, it keeps on changing after every GST council meet. So if there will be no policy coherence, there is no policy stability, again these companies will be very apprehensive about investing in the economy. So until and unless the major other structural reforms are also taken in account, it will be very difficult to tackle this issue of the slide in the rupee, the currency depreciation, the inflation in the economy, because for all the problems, there is not only the solution of the repo rate decline. We have to go for several other structural reforms. And here you can see that how this rupee has on January 1, 2025, rupee has declined to a historic low, that is 86.6 rupees per dollar. And when the rupee is declining, it is also leading to lot of sale from the capital market also, because the sentiments have turned negative for the capital market, and the people, while selling these capital from the Indian economy, they are earning more of Indian rupees, and that is the reason they are selling from Indian economy and they are going to other parts of the world where they can earn more. And that is the reason you can see that there has been a direct relation between slide in the Nifty 50 index, Sensex index, and the decline in the rupee. Now, what should be done? First of all, there is need for more deliberation and discussion between government and the RBI. Apart from that, there is need for, because understand, the fiscal policy is the complete domain of the government of India and the monetary policy is the complete domain of the Reserve Bank of India. So if the Reserve Bank of India is going for an expansionary monetary policy, it should be supported by the government spending. It should be supported by the simplified rules, laws and regulations that are in place, and that will ensure that there is a policy in sync between the monetary policy and the fiscal policy, and that is only possible when we will have a proper discussions and the deliberations between the government as well as the Reserve Bank of India. And we need to go for the other structural reforms that will improve the effectiveness of these policy rates, the reduction in the policy rate, and that will also help in ensuring that there is a proper ease of doing business and we can achieve our objective of economic growth. Also, there is need for enhancing the transmission of the monetary policy. There should be a proper watch on the commercial bank that how fast they are transmitting that reduction in the repo rate to the ultimate lenders or to the ultimate people who are in need of the money, who are borrowing from these commercial banks. Also, there is need for fiscal policy support. For example, government spending needs to be ensured, because that is again one of the important component of the GDP. When government spend, especially when government invest in the infrastructure creation, that also lead to crowding effect, and more private investment will further come, and that will lead to a further job creations, employment, etc. Also, the tax rationalization is one of the important issue which was seen especially after the recent budget announcement, and the government is also coming with the income tax bills to further simplify this process of the income tax, which is also in sync with the need of the economy, which will further simplify the overall tax process and further lead India to a growth trajectory. And we also have to address the supply side constraints. For example, in our Indian economy, what we have witnessed, that the consumer price index or the CPI, the food inflation was very high as compared to the inflation in the other commodities. That is the reason we need to address the supply side constraints. For example, in the month of September 2024, this price of the tomato skyrocketed to 120 rupees. Why that happened is because of the fact that there were incessant rainfalls. Also, there is lack of mechanization in the farms. Also, there is lack of proper storage facility, lack of cold storage, transportation, etc. So, until unless we'll address those issues, it will be very difficult for us to address the food inflation, and this decrease in the repo rate will not yield much result. So, we have to address the overall supply side constraints. We have to improve the infrastructure, and we have to also ease the regulatory burden, whether it is in the agriculture sector, the APMC mandi reforms, or it is related to the industries, etc. That needs to be done properly so that India can achieve its path of becoming a developed country by 2047, as well as we can achieve our target of $5 trillion economy by 2027-28, which is the recent target set by the Honorable Finance Ministry. Now, this is one of the question that which of the following statement is correct regarding the Monetary Policy Committee, and that is the reason we have taken this particular topic, that there are high chances that you will get some or other question from this topic, because this was the topic which was in news for the whole year. And this particular, in this question, it is a 12-member body. No, it is a 6-member body. Just eliminate option 2. And it is functions under the chairmanship of Union Finance Minister. This is also incorrect, under the RBI governor. So correct answer is A1 only. One question that is in 2019 it came, which one of the following is not the most likely measure of government RBI or the government or RBI to take to stop the slide of Indian rupee? The correct answer is following an expansionary monetary policy. For example, what the RBI has done currently, that if they will go for the expansionary monetary policy, if they will ease down the repo rate, and which will increase the liquidity in the economy, which will increase the money supply in the economy, and that will further lead currency depreciation. $1 from 50 became $1 equal to 100. So the correct answer is D here. Again, this question next question, third, that was asked in 2020, the weight of food in consumer price index is higher than the wholesale price index. Obviously that is correct. The WPI does not capture changes in the prices of services, which CPI does. That is also correct. And the Reserve Bank of India has now adopted WPI as its key measure of the inflation and to decide on the changing the key policy rate. This is incorrect. Earlier it was WPI and it has been changed to CPI in year 2019. So third statement is incorrect. Just this particular statement was incorrect, and 1 and 2 is correct answer. So you can see that even if you know about the recent update which has happened from that particular topic which is in news, you will be able to get correct answers of the various questions. And this expansionary, contractionary monetary policy, fiscal policy, increase in the liquidity, increase in the money supply, there are high chances that you will get questions. And whatever the things that we have discussed in today's discussion, I think you will be able to solve some of the questions that will come in the prelims examination. Then if the RBI decides to adopt an expansionary monetary policy, which of the following would it not do? You people tell me the answer of this question in the comment box. Also, one question to you people is that which was the commission based on whose recommendation the Reserve Bank of India was set up? And one mains question from this particular topic that you people also can try. Our second topic is technology and the challenges of the equitable education. And the context of this topic is that a write-up has appeared focusing on various aspects of challenges of the equitable education. And this particular topic is related to your GS paper 2 education. And this has been written by none other than Mr. Madhav Chauhan, who is the co-founder of NGO Pratham, which comes with the report, that is Annual Status of Educational Report, ASER survey. And the writer has highlighted that from 1990s to 2000, there has been various educational activities on mass scale. There has been various government programs that has been launched. And there has been programs like Sab Padhe, Sab Badhe, Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, etc. And the focus has been more on building infrastructure. And after the COVID-19 pandemic, there has been shift towards the digital revolution because of the lack of opening of the physical classrooms. The students have shifted towards the mobile phones. In year 2018, before the COVID-19 came, in the rural India, 90% of the rural households were having the simple mobile phones, having keypad, etc. And the 36% had smartphones. Whereas in 2022, the proportion of households with smartphones had risen to over 74%, and it has grown further to 84% to this year. And this has been highlighted by ASER 2024 report. And now understand one thing, that one question that may come in your mind, ki if 90% are having the keypad phones and 36% had smartphones, it is breaching the 100%. That means that there are some people who are having both keypad phones as well as the smartphones. So that emphasizes on the points that the accessibility as well as the availability of the smartphones has increased manifold after the COVID-19 pandemic, because the importance of smartphones was felt drastically in the COVID-19 period, where it became ultimate need of the people to access education, to access the educational videos, homeworks, etc. Also, the use of smartphones mainly in the pandemic period were used as a carrier of the text. The text messages were being sent from the schools to the particular student, that this is your homework, this is the task, this is the assignment that you have to do. The worksheets, that what is the amount of progress, what is the amount of work particular student has done, and the videos, the recorded lectures of the particular classes, etc., the test discussion, and obviously the PDF of the textbooks, etc., were made available on these smartphones itself because of the lack of physical opening of the classrooms. And owned smartphones proportion is only 31% in year 24 also, as per this ASER report 2024. That also emphasizes on the points that these students are mainly relying on the phones of their parents, either mother or the father or anyone else, and they do not own this particular phone itself. But this is not only about the availability and the accessibility of the phones. The ASER 24 highlighted the abysmal condition of the education in our India itself. For example, the share of students who can do basic arithmetic in 2024 as a percentage, the standard third subtraction can be done by the 27.6% in the government school and 47.5% in a private school. Similarly, standard 5 division can be done by the 26% of the students who can do in year 24, and in the private school it was 41.8%. Standard 8th division can be done by the 41.9% of the government schools student and 55.8% of private school students. That despite so much focus on the fees, curriculum, etc., still almost 45% of the private school students even cannot do some of the basic divisions. That shows the abysmal learning conditions of the students in either the government schools or in the private schools. That focus is not on learning the basic things, imparting these students basic skills. And one of the main factor why that is happening is poor pedagogy. That if someone will simplify a particular math sum or a particular concept of any one of the subjects, obviously students will be able to understand that properly. Whatever the things if teacher is saying which is only written in the book, there is no point at all of that class. Student can read that from the book itself. But if the teacher is helping with the help of some examples, some real life examples, students will be able to understand that very well. Let's suppose for addition or even for subtraction, that if the the teacher will take 5 pencils from the student itself, and then they will take 3 more pencils from 3 other students, and then they can show that how many pencils are there. Obviously students will add, and then they say there are 8 pencils. Similarly, the subtraction, multiplication, etc. can be made understood to these students with the help of the real life examples itself. So the writer is saying that there is need for going beyond smartphones. That in the last few years we have witnessed the AI revolution, that artificial intelligence has taken a leap, especially in the educational sector also, and because of the unaffordability of the tech. For example, there are various subscriptions that are required for various AI apps. There are various subscriptions that are required for some of the paid good quality content, and there is still a lot of rural population who, despite having the smartphones, haven't been able to access these good quality paid contents that emphasizes on the unaffordability of the tech. Also, the understanding the need of the children, that for a particular student who belongs to one of the districts from the Jharkhand and who is a particular student from one of the tribal community, he will be able to understand the things in his local language, in his mother tongue, and other than if he is taught in the English or any of the other language in which he or she is not very comfortable, obviously he or she will not be able to understand those things properly. So despite the AI revolution, which is not understanding the special needs of different groups of people, it would not be very helpful in improving the learning outcomes. Also, the language, as I discussed, is the major barrier, that most of these AI modules, most of these paid contents which is of good quality is in some specific language like English, Hindi, etc. And the unavailability of the local language content is one of the major hindering factor in the learning of the students. Also, the intelligent device is one of the major intelligent device is the school, which is also the fact that it plays a very important role in the secondary socialization. The primary socialization is done by the mother and the father at home itself, and the secondary socialization is done by the school itself, and that is an intelligent device which is shaping the future, which is shaping the learning of that particular student. So until and unless they have the answers of what, why and how of the students, those curious students, because online content AI cannot answer all the curiosity of the people. And if there is a particular teacher who is answering all the curiosity in a proper manner, then obviously the students' learning capacity will improve further. And the abysmal school attendance, because understand this particular issue, that this school student is one of the major factor that why there are poor learning outcomes. First of all, the pedagogy, curriculum, etc. The student doesn't feel connected with the things that are taught in the schools. Second, that also impacts their performance in the examination, etc., and that leads to high dropout rates, because most of the students, if they are not able to qualify, that will disenchant them from the education, and that is also visible from the primary dropout rates, where there is 0.7% in 2020-21. In the upper primary, it is 2.6%. In the secondary, it is 13.7% is the dropout rate. And also, you have to understand that still there is a lot of poverty in the village area, in the rural area. So there are cases that if both mother and father is going to work as a daily wage laborers, especially in some of the seasons where agricultural work takes goes for very strong demand, especially in the harvesting season, in the sowing season, etc., then some of these students might get involved in those agricultural activities or the daily wage activities, or they may be given the responsibility to take care of their homes or take care of their smaller siblings or the younger siblings, because both mother and father is going for the work itself. And at that also impacts the school attendance of these peoples, which is one issue which will be very difficult to be addressed by the AI or by the technology. Also, the poor pedagogy, because of the lack of proper training to these teachers, lack of proper capacity building to these teachers, and the teachers' absence, which is also one of the major issues. Also, the teacher-pupil ratio is also one of the major issue, that there are only 3 states or the UTs that in year 21-22 which have no one teacher school, that is Chandigarh, Puducherry, Lakshadweep. The Madhya Pradesh is one such a state where almost 16,630 schools are there, where we have only one teacher. And obviously, if that teacher falls sick, what will happen to the school? So this poor quality of the teacher-pupil ratio, as well as lack of proper training to them, that leads to a poor pedagogy, and which further impacts the learning outcomes of the students. Also, the other issues which is beyond this editorial is the lack of proper updation of the curriculum, lack of vocational education, etc., which has been highlighted by the National Education Policy also, which is also further leading to high dropout rates. And there has been also gender disparity. You can see that there has been drastic difference between the dropout rates of boys and girls. In year 2019-20, that more than 3.90 girls percentage drop out from class 1st to 8th, whereas boys percentage was 2.87, because of the early marriages of these women, because of the burden of the household works, etc. There is a lot of dropouts, especially of the girls in the secondary education sector. So there are a lot of other issues that we need to address apart from the issue of the inequitable distribution of the technology in the education sector. So what needs to be done? First of all, there is need for government support. For example, some of the governments are distributing smartphones, etc., and there is need for making education affordable. How that can be done? Because if for example, government is running various programs on this television, there are various apps that are available on the Play Store, etc. So there is need for further updation of this good quality content, so that any students who is not very well to do can also access this quality education with the help of government itself. Also, there is need for awareness generation among the students, especially among the parents, that what is the importance of education. It is very important to ensure that these children are going to the schools, they are attending the schools, they are learning properly, they are doing their homework, they are giving their exams properly. Only then it will be possible to address the overall education as well as the learning outcomes. So we need to tackle this dropouts properly, holistically, with the help of teachers and all other stakeholders like NGOs, civil society organizations, etc. Also, we need to ensure that there is content that is available in the local languages. That can actually help in ensuring that these students can relate with that content properly, right? And they can get the understanding properly. Also, some of the model village schools, for example, under the PM Shri Yojana, the government is developing model schools for implementation of national education policy. Similarly, some of the model schools which have implemented or which have adopted the technology very well, they need to be promoted at global level, at national level also, so that they can further motivate other schools to implement, to follow the path of these these model schools. Also, there is need for private sector support, especially the CSR funding, etc., that is given by these particular, that is mandated for these private companies, that can be shifted some part of that towards the improvement of the quality of these schools, towards the better technological connectivity for these schools, that can further impact the improvement in the quality of the educations, as well as better availability of the digital products in these schools. Also, there is also need for addressing widespread other issues like infrastructure deficits. There is lack of proper toilets in various schools. There is dilapidated conditions of the schools, etc. There is no proper maintenance of various schools. The teacher availability, teacher absence, etc. There are widespread issues that needs to be addressed as well to ensure that we achieve our sustainable development goal of quality education. And this is one of the questions that you people can write from this topic, is that discuss the major issues plaguing the school education in India and suggest some measures to address the underlying issues. In our simplified section, first topic is that center holds consultation with states on setting up biomanufacturing facility, and this is related with your GS paper 3 biotechnology, and this has appeared in today's The Hindu, page number 12. So the context is that following the approval of this Bio E3 policy, the full form is the Biotechnology for Economy, Environment and Employment, by the Union Cabinet last August, the Department of Biotechnology organized a consultation with the states on Friday here to set up biomanufacturing facilities in their regions. And what does biomanufacturing means? It refers to the industrial manufacturing process of a variety of products relating to high value bio-based chemicals, biopolymers and enzymes, smart proteins, functional foods, precision biotherapeutics and climate resilience agriculture. For example, let's suppose you are eating a chocolate, okay, and the demand of the chocolates has seen an uptrend, especially in this particular week, which is very famous for the youths who are committed, etc. So in this particular, let's suppose case, the chocolate, if there has been, with the help of some enzymes, the nutritional value of that chocolate has increased. That is also part of your biomanufacturing. Also, currently several states do not even have a policy on the biotechnology, and that is the reason that central government is providing that hand-holding and the support, so that they can also take part in this journey of moving towards the biomanufacturing improvement in the biotechnologies. And the roadmap to achieve this will establish the state-centric Bio E3 cells, which will be established in the state cell itself, and the formulation of the state-centric Bio E3 action plans constituting state-level steering committee, appropriate working groups and the nodal officers, and setting up of Bio AI hubs, foundries and the manufacturing hubs in the state itself, which will look up to the overall functions of the biomanufacturing across the environment, employment as well as economy. So this Bio E3 policy, which was launched in August itself, this is a policy for fostering high performance biomanufacturing. The features are that, first of all, it is innovation driven, supports to the research and development. As of now, the contribution of GDP as a percentage towards the research and development is only 0.6 to 0.7%, as highlighted by the recently released economic survey also. So there is the Bio E3 policy will also further support research and development on towards this biomanufacturing and entrepreneurship across the thematic sectors. There are 6 thematic sectors which has been highlighted. 7 sectors which has been highlighted by the particular Bio E3 policy. One is the high value bio-based chemicals, which will be used in various industries for further production of the goods and services. Biopolymers and the enzymes, which will further enhance the economy related to the textile industries, polymers, etc. And the smart proteins and the functional foods to overall see a leap forward in the food processing industries. And precision biotherapeutics to address the needs, evolving needs with the new kind of diseases, etc. that are coming. Also climate resilient agriculture to ensure that high yield variety seeds are coming. The pest resilient variety of the seeds are coming. The seeds which are resilient to the various climate change related events that are happening, for example droughts, etc. And then carbon capture and utilizations, that will help in ensuring that India achieve its target of net zero by 2070, and marine and space research to ensure that the fisheries sector and overall space exploration etc. takes a leap bound. Also, the acceleration of technology development and commercialization of establishing biomanufacturing and bio AI hubs and bio foundry in the states, prioritizing regenerative bioeconomy models for the green growth, and facilitating expansion of India's skilled workforce and providing a surge in the job creation, especially in the biomanufacturing sector. Our next topic is minimum support price. This is related with your GS paper 3 agriculture, and this has appeared in today's Indian Express page number 7. So minimum support price, this is the minimum price which is set by the government, at which the government buys the crops from the farmer itself. And as of now, there are 22 mandated crops which are the price of MSP, or the MSP for which is recommended by the CACP, and this MSP is recommended before the sowing period of the each year. There are 14 Kharif crops which are covered under the MSP. There are 7 Rabi crops which are covered under it, and 4 calendar crops like copra, dehusked coconut, jute, and the fair and remunerative price, or the FRP, for the sugarcane is also recommended, and it is finally cleared by the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. And the MSP for the Toria is based on the MSP for the rapeseed and the mustard, and dehusked coconut on the basis of MSP of copra. Also, the fair and remunerative prices for sugar is also declared along with the FRP of the sugarcane. Now, on what basis this CACP recommend the MSP? It is under this formula that when a particular farmer grows a crop, he incurs cost, and some of it are explicit and some of it are implicit or the unpaid. The CACP consider the following cost. First of all, A2 cost, which cover all the cash and in-kind expenses incurred by the farmers on seeds, fertilizers, chemicals, hired labor, fuel, irrigations, etc. This means all the inputs or all the backward linkages, right? Let's suppose this is farmer, and this is after this particular farmer is harvesting his crops. All these are the forward linkages, right? So all this backward linkages or the inputs that has been used, under this backward linkages, all the inputs which are used, whether it is seeds, fertilizers, chemicals, hired labors, fuel, irrigation, whatever the cost that has been paid by the farmers, that is considered under the A2. Then we have the A2 plus FL cost, which actual cost plus an imputed value of unpaid family labor. What does it mean by imputed value? It means the estimated value when we do not have a clear idea about what is the actual value. Because in agriculture, it is the family who are also contributing, and we do not have a clear idea about the family labor, what is their contribution, and they do not give any wage payment separately for the family members. So when we consider that FL also, that is imputed the cost on the unpaid family labor, that is your A2 plus FL cost. Then we have the C2 cost, which includes A2 plus FL along with the revenues which are foregone on owned land, that is rent on that land that farmer has taken for the production of that crop, and fixed capital assets, whatever the fixed capital assets that they have, the interest that they are paying on that is your C2 cost. As of now, the MSP is recommended as 1.5 times of A2 plus FL cost, but the CACP also look after the C2 cost, and the farmers demand are that it should be 1.5 times of the C2 cost. And this is such a very important topic that we have seen many questions. That one question was in 2018 and one question was in 2020 from this topic, and you should have a very clear idea about these crops which are mandated under this MSP, because UPSC has a tendency of asking questions on these crops itself. For example, in 2018 itself, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has announced the MSP for which of the above? Areca nut you just remove and the turmeric, and you will come to the answer B, 2, 4, 5 and 6. So there are many various questions that you will be able to solve in the actual exam just by the help of elimination technique. So please practice it a lot. You will get several questions correct in the actual exam. Because if you are only thinking to rely on your knowledge for clearing the prelims examination, obviously you can do, but there might be some difficulty. But if you will use some elimination techniques, some common sense, some logical reasoning in your prelims paper, along with your well revised syllabus and well revised knowledge of all the GS subjects, you will be able to sail through this prelims examination very easily. Then this question 2020, in case all cereal, pulses and oil seeds procurement at minimum support price MSP is unlimited in any state or UT, that is incorrect. The government maintains a buffer stock and they procure only that much of crops which it needs for the buffer stocks and ensuring the food security for giving under the PDS, etc. So there is no unlimited procurement. And in case of cereals and the pulses, MSP is fixed in any state UT at a level to which the market price will never rise. Again, this is incorrect. That is the minimum price. Obviously, the market price are generally higher than that. If the market price is higher than that for some of the seeds or some of the crops where the production hasn't been very sound or the supply hasn't been very sound, obviously it can breach the MSP price also. So this is also incorrect. The correct answer is D, neither one, neither two. There has been various instances for various crops where the prices of those crops for which MSP was announced, that has been more than the MSP price also. Next topic is this martial art Kalaripayattu. This is related with your art and culture GS paper 1 and this has appeared in today's Indian Express page number 10. The Delhi High Court has said that it is implausible to say that Kalaripayattu does not have a broad national footprint and primarily observed that Indian Olympic Association opted an arbitrary approach in its decision to not include the Kerala's martial art as a competitive sport in the 38th National Games. And there was a petition which was filed by one of the petitioner named Harshita Yadav because this martial art was listed as a demonstrative sport during the 38th National Games happening in Uttarakhand. Now understand one thing, that this demonstrative sports are those sports for which medals are not provided. So earlier there were 4 sports which has been kept under this demonstrative sports, but Yogasana and Malkhambh has been shifted to medal sports on 5th Feb 2025, and Kalaripayattu and one other particular art form was not kept under the medal tally and it was only kept as the demonstrative sport. And to ensure that this particular Kalaripayattu is also brought to the medal sports category, this petition was filed with the High Court, Delhi High Court. Now what this Kalaripayattu is, it is a martial art which is based on the ancient knowledge of the human body, and it originated in Kerala during the 3rd century BC to 2nd century AD. Now you people tell me, what is the duration of the Sangam age? And it is practiced in the Kerala and in some parts of the Tamil Nadu. Kalari is a Malayalam word that signifies kind of gymnasium, and Kalari literally means threshing floor or the battlefield. The word Kalari first appears in the Tamil Sangam literature to describe both a battlefield as well as a combat arena, and it is considered to be one of the oldest fighting system in existence and as the father of modern Kung Fu, which is famous in various countries like China, etc. There are some other martial art forms which may be very important for your upcoming prelims 2025 exam. For example, Silambam is related to Tamil Nadu, Kalaripayattu Kerala, Gatka Punjab, Thangta Manipur, then Parikhanda Bihar, Kathi Samu Andhra Pradesh, Masti Yudh Uttar Pradesh, and Mardani Khel is related to Maharashtra. Our next topic is ENAM 2.0. This is related to your GS paper 3 agriculture and this has appeared in today's Indian Express page number 7. So the context is that Union Agriculture Minister Shri Shivraj Singh Chauhan ji on Friday told the Rajya Sabha that Centre will upgrade this ENAM platform as ENAM 2.0 to facilitate the onboarding of the logistics service providers to address the logistics hurdle faced in interstate and inter-mandi trade. For example, let's suppose there is a company, delivery, which is in need that they are also thinking that they should be given this opportunity to serve as a logistics service provider in the ENAM to transport the grains which has been procured under this ENAM. So under this ENAM 2.0, there will be logistics companies, the particular companies who wants to be part of this ENAM can also participate, and this will resolve the major logistic challenges and will lead to faster trade, reduced wastage, as well as better farmer income, he added. And this ENAM is an electronic trading portal that networks the existing APMC mandis to create a unified national market for agricultural commodities. So this is an online trade platform for agricultural commodities in India, and it was launched on April 14, 2016. It is completely funded by the government of India itself, and the implementing agency for this ENAM is Small Farmers Agri Business Consortium, which is the lead agency for the implementation. And it is mainly aimed to create a better marketing opportunity for farmers to sell their products through competitive, transparent price discovery system, along with an online payment facility for the buyers. How this happens? That this is the gate entry in any APMC mandi. The farmer comes with their produce, the farmer registration is done, lot of the farmers is generated, then the sampling and assaying of that particular product, the quality of that product, the moisture quality, etc. is checked, and then their online trading based on the quality of that product starts, and there is a bid management process that is provided in the ENAM itself. The various people across sitting across the country bids for that particular crop based on their quality. Auction happens, and then when a particular person buys and gives the final prices, then the weight and the sale agreement is done, then online payment is done for the product, and then post trade goods return permits, then the particular product exits the gate after the payment has been done. So this is the whole process. So in a way, it is creating a network of existing APMC mandis, that all the APMC mandis which are located in different mandis, they are connected through this ENAM, and the people will be able to sell anywhere, any place, wherever they are getting the better prices. And as per the data, in last 9 years, the 1361 mandis has been integrated with the ENAM, and there are 2575 farmer producer organizations who have been onboarded, and 1.75 crore plus farmers plus 2.5 lakhs plus traders are registered under this ENAM. Next topic is TROPEX Exercise, which has appeared in today's The Hindu, page number 11, and this is related to your GS paper 3 defense. So Indian Navy's biennial capstone theater level operational exercise TROPEX is underway in Indian Ocean region, in which the combined fleet comprising approximately 65 Indian Navy ships, 9 submarines and over 80 aircrafts are being put through complex maritime operational scenarios to validate and refine the Navy's concept of operations, so that tomorrow if there is a contingency situation or if there is a need of support of Indian Navies, they are battle ready. Also, it is aimed at validating India's Navy core war fighting skills, whether they will be able to perform at right time all the technical things, etc. of any submarine, etc. or the assets of the Navy are functioning properly or not, and it ensure that synchronized integrated response to preserve and protect national maritime security interest in a contested maritime environment against the conventional asymmetric as well as hybrid threats, that is threats from state actors, non-state sectors, or threats from various areas, whether it is coming from air this is the land based or the Navy based, all the threats which are coming. So the Navy wants that they are ready to tackle that threat. There are some other exercises, for example, Malabar is conducted between USA, Japan, India, Australia. India conducts Varuna with France, Indra with Russia, etc. There are various exercises with the partner nations apart from the India are given, and this particular information may be important for your upcoming prelims 2025 examination. That's all from this session. Thank you very much. All the very best. Keep studying.